This is the left side. This is the right side.
Welcome back to Pretty Good Vibrations, the podcast that both analyzes and celebrates pop and rock music, in this case, 2000's emo music, and the crucial role it's played throughout certainly our lives, you and I. Jeff, I am joined again by Jeff Martin. You might remember him from the Top Bands We Toured With episode, member of This Day and Age. Welcome back, Jeff.
Hi, Dan. Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be back, personally.
I'm so stoked to have you here. We're going to try and put this on YouTube. I am attempting to do a YouTube version of this. It's going to be maybe a little bit less edited. Yeah. And, you're going to hear maybe, some weird stuff at the beginnings of song clips and stuff because I haven't figured out yet. I don't have the time to put like 4 hours into a video edit for each episode.
We wouldn't want you to do that either.
No, but it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be pretty good. And you could do that if you want to see our faces and like see the Spotify screen. A lot of times the lyrics are pulled up. Maybe it's a thing that makes sense just kind of in the background at work or at your house or whatever. So that should be an option. And I'll put a link in the show notes if it works. I'll put a link in the show notes for the podcast for the YouTube. But it's the YouTube channel is just Pretty Good Vibrations. Yeah. So it should be easy to find. We are talking, of course, today, Jeff, about 2000's emo, more specifically, really, I think 2001 and on, because there's some albums that come out like in 2000 that feel more like 90s, and then 01, that's kind of Dashboard comes out that year. Sure. Further Seems Forever comes out that year. I think Bleed American comes out that year. That's when it really starts taking off.
Wow. What a time.
So I like to talk a little bit about where this music fits in our lives. You know, you and I, we played this kind of music. I should say up top, both of our bands are in this tournament.
Wow.
Sherwood and This Day and Age. When This Day and Age is in, I will have to be the one choosing so that you don't have to like awkwardly choose between your own band and another band. And when Sherwood's in it, I relinquish the right to veto or do anything that because I'm not going to privilege my own band.
At least 85% of the bands that we would go up against would win. Even if I had to choose.
Looking at it, I think Sherwood maybe has a little better chance to get out of the first round because of the way that the matchups happen to go. But I'm not going to put my thumb on the scale. It's going to be your call, of course.
It's okay. That's up to me.
Per usual.
Yeah.
What can you say? Like, this is the music we played. It's the soundtrack to our 20s. What else?
I would say it's the music that changed my life. I mean, especially I would say right before. So if we're talking about 2001, it's the music that, I'm thinking about these albums kind of like Further Seems Forever and, in later Sunny Day, and just these albums that kind of bridged the gap for me from pop punk to, probably now more like, indie. But it was that long bridge that changed the way that I listened to music, played music, wrote music, and literally kind of just changed the trajectory of what, the next several years of my life looked like, and so many of the decisions I made, and so many of my best memories, whether I went and saw these bands, whether I played with these bands, whether it's the day that I came back from a Death Cab show and told my band we needed delay pedals, you know what I mean? It's everything.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's great. I think for me, it's sort of this. It's other than the Beach Boys, it's probably the closest to certainly like my identity. I was just thinking the other day, back when I was in Sherwood, and that was my full-time job, so roughly ages 20 to 27, something like that.
Yeah,
it really was kind of my primary identity. I think I genuinely thought of it as like, this is the thing that I do. And if you want to be friends with me or you want to be in my life, like this is the thing that you would need to know about. Not that I had some sort of gatekeeping, rule or anything, but like that was me. And I think I got almost a lot of my self-worth from it. I think, all those things that you might kind of put together with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's, there are some real drawbacks to that. And I'm kind of grateful to be in a season of life where my ability to write pop, emo pop songs is not the main thing that determines whether or not I have value. I prefer this phase of life in that sense. But because of that, I had so much sunk in to these bands and this genre. And I think that you just don't lose that in coding over the years. And for me, that's one of the things that really still lands about it is I do have that. I've still got that in coding. Oh, yeah. And it's not going anywhere.
And I'm still the guy in his, who's 41 years old, who wants to show my friends a band for the first time. You know what I mean? Even if it's not an emo band, but I carry that all the way from that period of time till now, where I want to show my friends new music, and I want to show them something that they haven't heard. And I feel like that was a gigantic part of my life, during this time. And now that, as we talk about it, the word emo, I don't know how it lands with you or how it landed with you, but I remember there was a time when I didn't want to associate with that word as much.
Yeah, that makes you totally normal. I think that's true of almost every single emo band.
Right.
That very, very few have ever wanted the mantle or claimed it.
Right. And I would even say, like, if people asked me what kind of music I listened to or played, I would always kind of go into like the melodic rock thing, or, what I mean? Or
indie rock.
Indie rock, indie pop, So, it's a funny word. It's always had a lot of baggage, a lot of different meanings to different people. Yeah. But emo nonetheless.
I think I said this in my conversation with Josh from Motion City Soundtrack on the emo walkthrough episode from like a year ago.
Yeah.
That I think I'm kind of a unicorn in that I always did say, yeah, we're an emo pop band. I just claimed it straight up.
Yeah, you were good about that. I don't know why I had a hard time, with that, but it's just true, right?
I'm certainly the odd man out in that sense. Yeah. So it's probably something broken in me, not something broken in you. You're definitely in the majority there. Well, let's talk a little. I want to get into the songs because we have a lot of artists. We did choose 45 bands. Wow. This is the most ambitious and longest tournament I have done on Pretty Good Vibrations. If it ends up working on YouTube, this would be a very interesting first episode to have on YouTube. They're not always going to be this long and this many parts. We'll see how many parts and how long it takes us. We're not going to rush ourselves because there's a lot to talk about with these bands. A lot of bands are going to get a first round bye because of the way that the seeding works. So if you really just want to hear the bigger bands, like if you're like, I wish they had just done the top 16 emo bands, then like start at part 2, or maybe part 3, depending on how long it takes. It kind of speeds up towards the end because you get fewer and fewer artists in each round, like in a playoff. Like in an NFL playoffs are going on right now. Actually, we're just, as we record this, we're just 6 days away from my 49ers in the Super Bowl. This is certainly going to air after that.
Oh man, and one of us is on the brokenhearted side, as I've been for the majority of my life, as a Buffalo Bills fan, and yet here you are with all of the joy and hope and promise to come of what might happen in the next few days. But then who knows how this will look by the time it comes out.
More like here I am with all of the gut and life-disrupting anxiety of a 49ers fan facing Mahomes.
I would like
some
of that, Dan. I would like some of that, Dan. Yeah. But listen, this week I'm for 100% cheering for the 49ers. So I'm done with the Chiefs. But we got a lot of work. We got a lot of work to do.
We do. Let's not talk about football.
Yeah. Let's not.
Let me just a couple little orders of business. Mostly we are skipping like primarily acoustic tracks. You might think Dashboard Confessional's acoustic. Isn't that kind of the peak of emo? And it is in some ways. But listening through this stuff, like almost all these bands, including Dashboard, once he had the personnel, went to a full band style. Yeah, and they should kind of compete with each other on that playing field. So I've mostly skipped those. Again, the cutoff is 2001, not 2000, because that's kind of when peak emo comes into its own. Yep. And for people who are new, especially if they're new on the YouTube stream, this is like a March Madness style tournament where Jeff, and in general my guest, gets to ultimately choose. Each matchup is song versus song as he hears it today, and he chooses a winner and a loser. Now, there are a few rules. The Chick Magnet Memorial set of playing cards, which came in after MXPX was just mercifully blown off the game board by their own fans.
Wow.
Who had so I choose songs based on Spotify plays, as long as they fit the criteria.
Right.
And I choose the seeding of the artists based on monthly Spotify listeners. And I throw it into a tournament bracket generator, and that's how we end up with the bracket. Now, Chick Magnet taught us that we need some safeguards. So there are a few safeguards. I have a few vetoes if I want to use them throughout.
Right.
I probably, maybe I'll give myself 5, but there's no way I'll use 5. And then you have 2 cards you can play. A rain delay card, which is that each artist gets the next track up in the kind of Spotify, popularity listing. And then the other is a pinch hitter, where you can choose a song of your choosing for one of the artists that you would rather hear compete, basically choosing that artist to go on because you want them to go on, but you want to hear a different song. You can only do that. Well, in a mega tournament, you can do each of those twice. So you've got 2 pinch hitters and 2 rain delays, and I will keep track of how many of those you have used. I also have a thing that I'm allowed to do beforehand when I'm creating the playlist, which is I'm allowed to choose a champion. As in, this fighter will fight for me and that fighter will fight for you. Okay. And in that case, I choose all the songs. And I usually do this for little known artists that I think I want to give them a better shot. I actually did that for 2 artists in this tournament, which I'll say as we get to it. Okay. But we should talk about the full list of artists here before we
I know you love this part, so I just want to see the joy on your face as you read the list.
I'm hoping that you also will love this part.
Oh, of course I do. But I love your joy as you go through the lists. Okay,
so here we go. This is the full list of artists who are going to be competing. And some of these artists have, like, for instance, the first one is Fall Out Boy. They have a lot of pop punk, but they also have plenty of songs that veer close enough into emo. That's one of those things. I'll just make sure it's an emo track. Here's the list. Fall Out Boy, Stray Light Run, The Format, Plain White Tees, The Starting Line, Manchester Orchestra, Minus the Bear, Appleseed Cast, Taking Back Sunday, Saves the Day, Owen, My Chemical Romance, Cursive, The Rocket Summer, Coheed and Cambria, Jack's Mannequin, Jimmy Eat World, Acceptance, May, Brand New, The Academy Is, Sherwood, Panic at the Disco, The Early November, Copeland, Bayside, Motion City Soundtrack, Yellow Card, Head Automatica, Further Seems Forever, Mayday Parade, The Spill Canvas, Hot Rod Circuit, Paramore, The Get Up Kids, Deer and the Headlights, Anberlin, Something Corporate, This Day and Age, The All-American Rejects, The Almost, Valencia, Dashboard Confessional, Alkaline Trio, and No Motive.
Unbelievable.
Just sing to us a little bit here, Jeff. What's that doing to your heart?
I mean, I can't. It's been a little bit since I've looked at our list. We talked about this a couple months ago. Yeah, man, there are going to be some tough moments. There was one band I thought of, and I'm not going to say it right now, where I feel like you're going to use a veto against me because there's one band that probably might be considered the top, the Mount Rushmore, as you would call it, that I'm not a big fan of, and I can't wait till we get to that moment.
Well, we'll see.
But some of the other bands, I just can't believe the list. I just can't wait to see like Jimmy Eat World against This Day and Age.
Let's hope for everyone's sake, especially yours, that doesn't happen.
No, the list is amazing.
Well, let's do this. So I'm gonna get Spotify pulled up here. And we're gonna start things off. So we are starting off in the kind of normally this would be the play-in round, but it's actually just round 1, and a bunch of bands get a round 1 bye. Yeah. Okay. Just like the 49ers did in this year's. Okay. Man, this is gonna come back to bite me in the ass if the Chiefs destroy them in the Super Bowl.
There's been a lot of 49ers talking. I understand why. So just enjoy it.
Because I am a spoiled brat. That's why. Yeah, all right. So the first matchup of round 1 is Stray Light Run versus The Format. Stray Light Run, of course, Jonathan Nolan Jonathan Nolan, right? John
Yeah,
Nolan.
from Taking Back Sunday,
From
right?
Taking Back Sunday, left the band after the first record, brought his sister with him, who at that time was Adam Lazzara's ex-girlfriend, and I believe that was part of the whole kind of breakup situation, and started like a more kind of piano-heavy, a bit slower and less distorted project with a few great songs, I think. And they're up against The Format, who are a kind of pop acoustic band from Tempe, Arizona. Of course, Nate Ruess eventually became the singer of Fun and solo artist featured with Pink and stuff like that. The Format is his first project with guitarist Sam Means. So from Straight Light Run, we get Existentialism on Prom Night.
There are moments when I know it ends. The world revolves around us, and we're keep it all going. This day we're getting balance, vulnerable, all-knowing. Saying like you think no one's listening. You would kill for this just a little bit, just a little bit. You would. Saying like you think no one's listening. You would kill for this just a little bit, just a little bit. You would.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Any just
Yeah.
brief reactions there?
It's been a long, long time since I've heard Straight Light Run. I never latched on to them too much. I remember this song, and I liked it. It didn't do a ton for me today on this date. In
I think we should.
2024.
Okay, well, I kind of meant to play later in the song, and I sort of forgot to do it.
Yeah.
Let me just play you the final chorus,
Like
and you
where
can
it sort
kind
of kicks in a little bit more.
yeah, get a sense of things here.
Yeah. I mean, but I remember the song. But yeah, let's hear that.
And this is more where you hear that John Nolan from Taking Back Sunday kind of vibe.
You would kill for this just a little bit, just a little bit. You would.
It's also like
Yeah.
if you think that it's a little bit cringeworthy, that part is more cringeworthy. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there, I think.
Right. You're either going to like it more or like it
Or less.
less.
Yeah.
So no, I dig the song, and honestly, it is so this era.
It is. Takes me right back. All right, this is up against, in my mind, a very, very good song. The first single, parentheses, You Know Me, by The Format.
I can't stand to think about a heart so big it hurts like hell. Oh my God, I gave my best, but for 3 whole years to end like this. Well, do you wanna fall apart? I can't stop if you can't start. Do you wanna fall apart? Well, I could if you can't try to fix what I've undone. 'Cause I hate what I've become. You know me, all you think you do, you just don't seem to see. I've been waiting all this time to be something I can't define. So let's cause a scene. Clap our hands, stomp our feet, or something. Yeah, something. I just gotta get myself over me.
Talk to me, Jeff.
Amazing song. I mean, it was over with the first second. As soon as the drums kicked in, it was over.
Yeah.
And I love that song. I love the format. We talked a little bit about the format on our previous episode.
Yeah, you guys played a couple shows with them.
We played
Yeah.
some shows with them, and I remember listening to this album quite a bit. And I know we're supposed to talk about how I heard it now, and I hear this as a song that holds up, and the other
Absolutely.
one doesn't to me as much. And listen, I'm not going to judge the songs that way the whole time, because some of these songs really, truthfully, aren't meant to hold up. But the format song does, and it wins this round very easily.
I love that. I mean, I think first of all, can we all just pour one out, a quick eulogy for the incredibly 2000s combination of a 4-on-the-floor drum beat with an acoustic guitar and 16th note hi-hats? Like,
oh yeah.
Will the world ever be? Will the world ever collectively experience that again, the way we did in the early 2000s?
We loved it. We needed it, and I'm glad that we had it.
In fact, just to kind of call myself out I love to always find the times when I rip other people off. And here is an example.
I love these moments. I love these transparent moments.
This Airplane is a Ribbon from Sherwood's Summer EP 2006. This is in between our first and second full length.
Yeah,
listen to
EP.
how much. Oh, I appreciate that. But listen to how much this is a nod to that format track.
Okay, let's hear it.
And I've seen a drunken poet spilling verses on the bar. I wish I remembered them, so beautiful and so dark. And I watched their moment flicker as they vanished in the air, right in front of me, but he didn't seem to care. And I'll take that long drive down, spend 2 months in your town, but I'm scared to death that I won't see you around. If you're anything like
16th note hi-hats, you got the 4-on-the-floor, you got the acoustic. It's straight up just
Listen, it's okay. These are some core elements of what was happening at this time, and I don't blame you for it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't blame myself either. I actually don't know why that song did not succeed as a radio single in that era.
For the format song?
Format, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why either.
Like, I can usually point to something in a failed radio single, like, okay, that's not quite radio friendly, or that's not quite what was on at the time, or it takes too long to get to the chorus.
Yeah.
I just don't know what happened there. Obviously, like, the world eventually was ready for Nate and his kind of musical vision, and he had massive radio success with Fun and as a solo artist. So that one just feels like maybe somebody fucked that up. I don't know. Maybe on the business end, or I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like it should have been a gigantic song. I mean, and the format was big, but also maybe it was just, Nate's time was going to come later in a different way. But yeah, that song probably should have been gigantic.
Yeah. Let's talk briefly about Straight Light Run then before we say goodbye to them. I mean, that song, so I'm a little different than you. I actually think that song does hold up quite well. Maybe I have a bit more of room in my heart for dripping.
Are you saying I have a small emo heart?
I don't know. I don't know if you have a small emo heart, but I can handle a lot of sincerity. Yeah. I can fit a lot of sincerity in that heart of mine.
Some real on the nose sincerity.
Okay, so the lyric in that chorus is "Sing like you think no one's listening. You would kill for this just a little bit."
Just a little bit.
That is objectively fucking awful lyric. That's so bad. Those are so bad. But I love the chorus. I sing along. Yeah. I basically never, ever skip either that song or Mistakes We Knew We Were Making from the same record.
Is that a May song?
No, well, maybe it's also the same title, but it's from the same record.
Okay.
And I do think you get a sense of what John brought to Taking Back Sunday. Like maybe the real dripping sincerity that's on their first record, that kind of goes away. And we get a bit more of a straightforward rock thing after he leaves. And that kind of makes sense of it. I just want to play like a little bit of Mistakes We Knew We Were Making, because I really like this band.
This is your show. Please play.
Okay, here's Mistakes We Knew We Were Making by Straight Light Run.
is the worst thing there is, so we bottled and shelved all our regrets, let them ferment and came back to our senses, drove back home, slept a few days, woke up and laughed at how stupid we used to be.
You like that chorus?
I like that chorus. I think the song's better than the one that we heard earlier.
Yeah.
But it's like Taking Back Sunday was already sort of on the edge of what I would listen to a lot of. And honestly, I love that one album by them. But it was like I didn't need any more Taking Back Sunday or another version of it. And I think that's always how I felt about Straight Light Run. But that's a really good chorus.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And people's mileage varies on all of that. All right, well, thanks for the first casualty of this massive tournament is Straight Light Run.
Now there's only 44 bands left. What are we going to
do? Take one down, pass it around. 44 emo bands still on the wall.
Wow, here we go.
Okay.
I can't wait to see what's next.
So we've got.
I just sent you a message, and you can take this out of the podcast, but just the quality of the song, audio wise, kind of declines after we listen to it for a few seconds.
Interesting.
It doesn't matter to me at all. I texted you that, but I wanted you to know that as well. And you can
how bad does it get?
I would say it gets worse by it probably degrades by about 30% of the, like it kind of loses its kind of like punch, I would say. Which really might have hurt Straight Light Run there.
It might have. Yeah. I'm trying a new setup and Dan, I don't know if I can solve that.
Please don't worry about it. I just wanted to let you know. And especially since this is probably one of 5 times we talk, it'll probably be better the next time. And I'm not worried about it at all.
I'll see what I can do about it. It should, it's weird because,
don't worry about it. That's just a FYI, and you can take out these 40 seconds of our.
Yeah, I'll take it out. Okay.
And we're back.
All right, so we are skipping Plain White T's, the starting line, and Manchester Orchestra, each of whom get a bye, and we are going to the next first round matchup. This is Minus the Bear versus the Appleseed Cast. Kind of a fun pairing.
I love this pairing.
Both quite mathy.
Yeah.
Lots of kind of finger picking and like hammer-on guitar parts, like very intricate guitar work. Actually, kind of intricate and mathy drum work. So kind of a fun mix here. From
I like it.
Minus the Bear, we get Pachuca Sunrise from Menos el Oso.
There's a luster from the city lights on the waves that kiss our feet, and we're thinking of going in. The time's getting
and that's coming up against Fight Song by Appleseed Cast.
Wow. Okay.
Kind of a heavy hitter.
It is.
I can't face you now. This is the end. There's nothing to keep. This is the end of you and me. As the ice comes down, it's the end. As the lights come out, it's the end. As the tears flow out, it's the end. It's the end of you and me. So look out on the lake, and we see the white light. It said it was gone. It should have been gone. That maybe all the crazy things you said would have a meaning, but this thing.
Man, oh man. Well, I mean, that's an easy one for me.
Yeah.
I like Minus the Bear. I haven't listened to them in a long time. I have 2 shout outs for this moment.
Great.
That like dance beat, that was such a common thing at the time.
It's going to come up a lot. Yeah.
I remember, Kelly Chandra from This Day and Age, our piano player. So shout out to Kelly. He despised that type of beat so much. And we incorporated it a couple times into This Day and Age. But I remember if it was even close, we'd have a little bit of a fight.
You'd have to have a conversation.
We'd have to have a conversation.
Some kind of compromise. Yeah.
So we got to find something in between. So that song made me think of him. And then one of my favorite This Day and Age touring memories is related to Appleseed Cast, not playing with them, but playing a show in Detroit, Michigan, I think, or somewhere in Michigan. And one of our good friends, Emma, who came to a lot of our shows in the Michigan area, she was like, Appleseed Cast is playing like 10 minutes away tonight. And let's go after your set. So I finished playing in Detroit and went to go see Appleseed Cast in a venue that probably held 50 people. And that same night, and it was unbelievable. And they win by a lot. And I love the fight song.
I actually think my favorite Appleseed Cast record is Mare Vitalis, which will be in the early emo 90s
so it's before this
tournament.
One. Yeah.
Not eligible here.
Yeah.
And my favorite song of this era is their fourth song. So if they make it like quite far, we'll hear it. Or maybe if they don't and we say goodbye.
I like them a lot. And we recorded both of our albums at the Get Up Kids studio, and they also recorded their albums there.
That's right. You did. And did you do them both with Ed Rose or just one with Ed Rose?
Both with Ed Rose. Yeah. So he did most of their stuff, right? All of it, maybe?
You'd know better than me. But they're a Lawrence, Kansas band, like
Lawrence,
the Get Up
Kansas.
Kids. Yeah. One thing for Minus the Bear I'll say is I bet that band Foals. Do you know that band Foals from the UK?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about especially early Foals, their first record when they were still coming out of I think they were from Oxford or Cambridge or something. That was kind of their origin story. But I'm thinking about that first record and I'm like, dude, I think that they loved Minus the Bear.
Yeah, maybe.
Certainly knew of them.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with Foals, but I know of them.
Listen to this song, Cassius, from 2008, from the first Foals record.
Cassius, it's over. Cassius, away. Cassius, these daydreams decay. Loss is an accident. The loss is an accident. Wish you gone away. And what you got is always gone away. Cassius is best. It's all that we can do.
Anyway, right?
Oh, totally. Sorry, Kelly, that you had to hear that beat again.
Does Kelly listen?
No, I don't know, but I'm gonna tell him he should once this comes out.
Yes, and hey, what's up, man? Miss you.
Hey, yeah.
All right, so Appleseed Cast takes it. Yeah,
easily.
Okay,
43 bands left.
Only at 43. Okay, now it's a shame that this next band has to even be in the round one. This is Saves the Day.
Oh my!
Who are going up against Owen, and I think there's been some kind of collective Saves the Day memory issues. People have forgotten about them or something. Do we forget that they are like one of our truly great bands? I don't know what's going on.
I haven't forgotten that.
I haven't forgotten. I don't like. I'm
a little upset about this matchup. I'd like to say this out loud.
Are you a big Owen fan?
I am. Obviously, American football.
Yeah, Mike Kinsella from American football.
So I'm sad about this matchup, but I love both bands, and I have not. Saves the Day, I would always say, is one of the bands that really, really impacted me.
Right,
and I still listen to them.
Okay, well, we're from Saves the Day. They have been in episodes before, but they've not competed in a tournament yet. So we've heard some of these songs. Like I did a Hot Takes episode about Saves the Day, Jimmy Eat World, and Motion City Soundtrack with my buddy David. And so we heard this song there, but it hasn't competed. And when bands compete in a tournament, then those songs, whatever songs play, whether or not they win, get disqualified from future tournaments. So we're going to have a bunch of bands here who are pretty handicapped because of previous tournaments, but Saves the Day is actually not. So we get their cream of the crop, which means we get At Your Funeral.
Oh my!
So here is At Your Funeral by Saves the Day.
Let's go.
This song will become the anthem of your underground. You're 2 floors down, getting high in the back room.
that guy always had some pretty dark lyrics, didn't he?
Yes.
But I love 2 or 3 of their albums so much. I think Through Being Cool, I think I had to get a replacement because the CD was scratched up so much.
You wore it out. Yeah.
I totally wore it out. So
probably a difference too, being an East Coast kid. Like, it took more for me to be convinced as a California kid to like that band. I saw them open for Face to Face on Through Being Cool, and Chris was like doing his little jumping back and forth.
Oh yeah.
Thing, and I was like, this is not cool. I mean, I was not ready for it, maybe.
I mean, he's not cool.
Well, but that's fine. But then Stay What You Are came out when I was in college, and it got me pretty quick. So, okay, but this is up against Owen. The track is Everyone's Asleep in the House But Me from Ghost Town.
Everyone's asleep, suspending reality, trying to walk a straight line, but it's so hard with these cross ties.
A tough beat to be matched up against at your funeral.
That was a tough one, and I was a little stunned by the guitar solo towards the end there. I think I might have forgot about that. Yeah, no, I know. So many beautiful parts. I mean, I think Mike Kinsella has got to be like the pretty guitar riffed king, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And I love that, like, for this era of music, Owen definitely required a little bit more patience. You know what I mean? Just to let these songs kind of breathe more than most of what you're dealing with. I think
that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love Owen a lot. Saves the Day wins this round.
Yeah.
But maybe we listen to another Owen song to say goodbye, because I really do like that band.
Well, let's do it. What would you like to hear from Owen?
I would say I actually kind of liked their more recent album. I think it was called The Avalanche. I don't know what song in particular, but maybe
like
just
Sleepwalking. No, is that the track? Looks like Sleepwalking, which is very similar artwork to The Avalanche, is one of the top songs. But that does not appear to be on the album. So that's weird.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't.
We just play the first track, A New Muse.
Yeah, let's hear that.
Okay, 2020, A New Muse by Owen. And we should say, if you don't know American Football, he was in Captain Jazz, one of the first Midwest emo, kind of second wave emo bands, and then American Football, which is like absolutely all time, and they will probably do quite well in the early emo tournament. That's kind of what he's known for. So here's A New Muse.
Let me be anything, a boy, or in love. It's a double-edged word. Both sides will cut you clean. I too often forget if I'm in or out of here. I plead the mind, turn my blood into poetry. I need to know she sounds like she sings.
That's really nice. I think
It's
what's
really
always
good,
been
isn't
hard for me about Owen is, like, especially on the Owen stuff, he is so uninterested in writing hooks.
Right.
And I am just a pop kid.
You're
I
a
had the
pop
Beach
guy.
Boys in my baby bottle, and I have never recovered from that.
Yeah.
And so American Football does have more hooks. It's still not the hookiest, but like
Sure.
maybe other guys in the band kind of formulating it to be a little catchier or something. Whereas with Owen, he can kind of just like
He
follow
meanders
his own
more.
muse.
Yeah.
A
I
new
would-
muse, you might say.
He really might, but I would add that album to your playlist just to check it out, because there are some really nice songs on it.
Cool. Yeah, I did really like that. I mean, I'd kind of like to put it on like in the morning, while I'm making coffee and hanging out with my boys and stuff. Like, I think that's where it's going to get some play for me.
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay, next matchup. Cursive. This one. Okay, this might be sort of what do we, like when people talk about a team culture or a corporate culture, like the culture within that kind of surrounds an artist. This might be the most polarity between two bands, Cursive versus the Rocket Summer.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was waiting for who was coming, and you're totally right.
Just like so pure artsy self-loathing. Almost like if bipolar medications were a band, is Cursive.
Versus pure joy.
Versus pure, unadulterated playground joy. Okay, so from
I love it.
Cursive, we get a track I love, The Recluse from The Ugly Organ.
I don't know. Why do I start what I can't finish? Oh, please don't barrage me with the questions to all those ugly answers. My ego's like my stomach, it keeps shitting what I feed it. But maybe I don't wanna finish anything anymore. Maybe I can wait in bed till she comes home and whispers, wrap you up tight till it's time to bite down.
Here's something that could go wrong. Hey guys, how about this one's mostly strings and some sleigh bells? It did not go wrong. It's incredible.
No, it's beautiful. And that riff is so good. That kind of leads into the verses.
Yes, it's honestly, it's like a Motown groove, which is not something we're going to hear a lot of.
We're not going to hear a lot of Motown today. No,
we will not. And this is interesting. The number one Rocket Summer track, at least from this era, is "Do You Feel," which is the title track from his biggest record.
Wow.
It's not my favorite song on that record, but I do like it, and we're going to hear it. Here's "Do You Feel" by the Rocket Summer.
And how these hands could create some better things for better rain. But you see, for now I got my own things. I can't help it, I got too many issues I own, so I cannot help, I'm afraid. Yeah, but keep on preaching, preaching to heal the world. Lip service makes us look great. Do you feel the weight of the world saying sorrow? Or do you wish it's just not real? 'Cause you got your own things, yeah, we all have our things. I guess my mind wanders off from time to time. Sometimes I convince myself that all is fine in the world, it's not mine. Why should I have to try to fix things I didn't create or contrive?
Oh, Bryce, I like that song, and obviously we talked a lot about Bryce in our last episode together. We love him. We love the Rocket Summer. But
we
Cursive,
met opening for the Rocket Summer.
That's our friend. We owe our friendship is owed to Bryce. But in this round, Cursive is going to take it. So yeah, I like "Do You Feel," but that little riff, that kind of that thing that kind of ties that song, Cursive song, together was pretty special.
I do like the Rocket Summer, but we all have our things, I guess. And one of my things is when an emo band can, no joke, incorporate disco soul elements, strings, hand percussion, muted guitar picking, walking bass line into a complete self-loathing emo track.
Totally.
That is a magic trick that Cursive pulled off. And so they would get it from me too. So you're going to have no disagreement from me there. We talked about the Rocket Summer on that other episode, so we can probably just bid them adieu. But thank you. Thanks, Bryce, for bringing us on tour and starting this friendship.
We love it.
Okay, next up, still in this first round, bands that did not get a bye. We have a band that I think is going to be hamstrung by their Spotify plays. Acceptance up against your beloved May. From Acceptance, we get So Contagious.
Oh, when I'm around you, I'm predictable. 'Cause I believe in loving you at first sight. I know it's crazy, but I'm hoping to take a hold of you. Could this be out of line? Could this be out of mind? Say you're the only one breaking me down like this. You're the only one I would take a shot on. Keep me hanging on so contagiously.
I just don't understand that chorus. I don't know who thought, that's catchy, let's keep that. And then I really don't understand how that becomes the most popular song.
Yeah, I like.
I don't get it.
I like songs from that other songs from that album so much more.
I love
I think
a
the
couple
album's
songs from that
awesome.
album.
Yeah.
It's great, and it is one of the best sounding Aaron Sprinkle productions. Longtime producer for Tooth and Nail and other bands. And it's up against the song that kind of got me into May, probably got you into May, from one of those Tooth and Nail Records samplers
100%.
back in 03 or so. This is Embers and Envelopes by May.
You'll see the one whose boring never ends, and based on that we'll see there'll be room for change, but gradually I know to have something like this broken is hard to fix. Embers, we're burning bridges down. How will ever those steps with feelings found? To write this down is means to reconcile. Embers, we're burning bridges down. How will ever those steps with feelings found? To write this down is means to reconcile.
Trivia question, and I wonder if it's the same for both of us. What album did that sampler come in?
Oh, yeah, like it was a second disc, right?
100%. Yep.
Was it Further Seems Forever, How to Start a Fire?
Exactly.
Oh my God.
I can picture sitting. I can.
I can't believe you remembered that and that I got it right. That's insane.
I can picture opening the album, the How to Start a Fire album, in my car. You know, you can't wait, right? You get the CD and you
Absolutely.
pop it open. And I remember, I think I might have listened to that song that same day, and it really kind of hooked me. So anyway, I would say, I don't even know if I want to do a which one is it? Rain Delay or Pinch Hitter when you pick a different song?
Pinch Hitter is you pick a different song of your choosing. Rain Delay is they each get the next song up, which you can see on the shared screen there. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna pick May. I love Embers and Envelopes, and I think they would probably win the next song too, which is Suspension.
Because Acceptance doesn't really get great until the third and fourth song in their Spotify list, which is weird.
So May wins. Dave, Jacob, Zach, great job. So, but why don't you play just to say goodbye to Acceptance? Because Phantom it's called Phantoms, right? The album.
Phantoms is the album. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great album. So why don't you play your favorite song, which I think is that third or fourth one?
I will.
As to say goodbye to them.
Yeah, we'll play Take Cover to say goodbye, which is just a fantastic track. But just my quick thoughts is that sonically, the Acceptance recording and just, their guitar tones, the way he sings,
better.
Everything about it is way better. Like that holds up. And Sprinkle might have even been involved in some of the May records. I don't know. But probably not this first one, which I think they recorded themselves and then like Tooth and Nail licensed it is my memory on it. But sonically, Acceptance is way more tasteful, holds up better. May definitely puts me back in that 2003 moment, like not in a good way in every way. It's a little bit like, it feels like paper thin and like flimsy. But songwriting wise, that is a way better chorus.
Such a good song.
Great hook, just great melody. Obviously, so and I do think that the next couple songs of May's are pretty heavy hitters, so they could make a dent here.
I think so.
Let's say goodbye to Acceptance with this absolute banger. I mean, this is in maybe my top 100 like emo songs from this era. It's so good, and I don't know why it's so low. It's called Take Cover.
She's a liar. It comes to this. All we had till now is gone, and I'm the other piece to this. Every time I feel this inside, I wanna be the one who caught you. So take cover. Never saw it coming till you put me on. Had you and no other. The game, the lies, yeah.
There's no doubt that you and I are both singing the high harmony there while we're on mute. At least while I was on mute, I was. That's
Kind of
song.
you to mute yourself during the song playback. I appreciate that.
That's the best song on the album, I think. And
I think so too.
I think Acceptance could have probably won against some other bands. And I like that album, but May goes on.
Yeah, I mean that song is just so tightly constructed, and I don't know. It's again, they're kind of hamstrung by, this is probably the most snobby thing I could say. The unwashed masses and their I don't know, their crappy taste in bands that I think do really good work, but oh well, what are you gonna do?
Oh well.
Okay, so now we move on to Sherwood versus The Academy Is. Now this is funny that the bracket based on Spotify listeners would pair us up against each other, because we opened for them in 2007 on a big U.S. tour, like 60 or 70 dates. Got to know them, decently well.
Yeah.
Really, really kind guys. They were very kind to us. From The Academy Is, we get About a Girl.
Last night I knew what to say, but you weren't there to hear it. These lines, so well rehearsed, tongue-tied and overloaded, you never noticed. I'm not in love, this is not my heart. I'm not gonna waste these words about a girl. I'm not in love, this is not your song. I'm not gonna waste these words about a
And this comes up against a song I wrote, which is weird.
I love it.
Song in My Head by Sherwood.
Oh, I don't believe it, that I could be so deceiving and bringing you down to feel this lack of loyalty. 'Cause you were a song in my head, the warmth of the sheets in my bed, a story forever told but never old, a warm arrival never left so cold. Don't blink, don't close your eyes, and most of all, don't apologize.
before I give my verdict, what is that song like? What's going on in you when you hear that song?
It is difficult for me to listen back. We have already recorded. It'll probably come out before this. Our favorite Sherwood songs episode. I did it with Joe and Mikey.
Oh, cool.
And I had a really hard time actually, like in the moment. Like I hear everything I wish I had done differently. I hear honestly, it's not dissimilar to the way that my therapy clients notice all their faults and mistakes when they're anxious or depressed, like kind of inordinately focused on what didn't work. I will say I'm still quite proud of that chorus. And
I think it's a good chorus.
And the verse, I really like that song. There's most of what I would change about that song is like little production stuff. So that one is not as hard to listen to. It's like you can't be objective and actually know like where your band fits into it. You just can't do it.
Sure.
Like I don't know where we fit, and that's hard.
Yep. And I'm not just saying this because it's you. I was never a big Academy Is guy, and except for the one line, I really do like the melody of the first line of that chorus. But aside from that song doesn't do a whole lot for me, and I never really, like I said, I never really was into them too much. So Sherwood wins this round, and I like that song. I remember, I don't think we toured with you guys, for this album, because is this 2007?
Yeah, this came out in 2007. Yeah, so
this is like right after this. Right,
we toured with Reign of Kendo, the post This Day and Age group with everybody but you. But after this, but we never toured with you. I was probably working on this record, but I hadn't written that song yet. I know because I wrote it in Mexico after all that touring that we did together.
Cool. You guys win this round. Nice job.
That makes me feel good.
Yeah, no, I'm not just saying that. Honestly, you got a little, I'm going to tell you this right now. You got a little lucky going up against Academy Is because I'm like, on them.
Well, okay. Two things I'll say. One about the Sherwood song and then one about the Academy Is. So,
but it's a good song, but your song's good though. So I guess it doesn't, I think
I appreciate that. And I hope it's okay to say, I think Song in My Head hangs with About a Girl. I mean, I think we can compete there. And I actually never dug their music all that much. I think there was a timing thing. It wasn't really for me. It wasn't aimed at me. I always got the sense that it was aimed at like younger women, and not in a creepy way, just like the kind of aesthetic that they had. And like William was this like handsome Joey Ramone, like super tall and lanky, long dark hair. Really nice guy. Nice guys in the band. The one thing I regret in Song in My Head is Lou put in that wind whooshing sound before the chorus.
We don't want any wind.
A warm arrival never left so cold.
Yeah.
And it goes like, but there's also like a delayed kind of building delay guitar thing that gets lost there because of the whooshing. That live was always much more fun. We just would cut and David would go wah, ga, 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 bam, and then everything just like drops in kind of out of silence.
Right. Yeah.
And actually that hits harder, and I really regret that. I think that chorus would have hit harder without the whoosh. It almost serves as like an EDM transition, sonically. Okay. And it doesn't really need that. So I regret that. But that's not the worst thing in the world.
That's not the worst thing.
I will say I'm slightly proud, even though, and I hope you're not buttering me up, and you don't have to.
I never would.
You do not have to butter me up.
Nope.
But I'm happy to have made it into round 2. We've got a few more here for round 1.
Yeah.
Next up, the Early November versus Copeland. From the Early November, we get I Want to Hear You Sad.
This ride is drifting slowly to the side. We're swerving off the road, going past the cones that warned us from the start. For all of this, I'm better off without you.
This is coming up against, by the way, some serious this day and age vibes, especially in that verse. Did you hear that?
I mean, it's so I'll hold my comments for after, because I have a couple
up
thoughts.
Against a Copeland song that I've always been a little surprised is like so popular, but I do like it. It's barely emo, but like everything that Aaron Marsh writes and sings and plays, like just still like tracks as emo to me, kind of no matter what he does. So this is Coffee from their first record, Beneath Medicine Tree.
Not too late for coffee. I'll be at your place in 10. We'll hit that all-night diner and then we'll see. There's a love that transcends all that we've known of ourselves. And I'll wait for it to come. I'll wait for it to come. Well, it's got to be strong to touch my heart through its shell. And I'll wait for it to come. I'll wait for it to come.
Wow. So the Early November song is the first song that has like really kind of surprised me on this one, or like so far, like in a really good way. Yeah. I think I forgot about that song. I think it's probably maybe for a reason. It's probably their best song. Right.
Yeah.
And what you were saying, like, I feel like every choice he made, like melodically and chord wise, is like really resonates with me. Like almost like I would make those choices. It
really sounded like your songwriting choices.
It really, so every time he made a choice, I was remembering the song, and as if I would do the same thing. I love that song. But I actually think Coffee by Copeland is one of their most special songs.
Well, especially that kind of post-chorus that we heard. There's a love that transcends all that we've known of ourselves, which, by the way, all of us evangelicals in the early and mid 2000s who were desperate to find artists that we loved, who shared our faith.
We were looking so hard.
Aaron, who we became friendly. We toured with them later towards the end of their initial career before they went on hiatus.
Right.
And really like him. I just love that band so much. Easily one of my favorite bands from that era, one of my favorite emo bands of all time. He was always like really adamant, like, I'm not a Christian. I've never said I was a Christian. We weren't on Tooth and Nail. We were on the Militia Group, which was, like there had been people I think who had worked at Tooth and Nail, and it was like, are some of these bands Christian? And Rocket Summer was on there, and he's very clearly Christian on those first few records. But a line like that, there's a love that transcends all that we've known of ourselves, and I'll wait for it to come.
Come on, Aaron.
You know what, dude? I'm calling bullshit. I'm going to forgive my anxious little 20-year-old self. That fucking sounds like a Christian lyric, okay? It does.
I think it is.
And I think it is. And maybe that doesn't mean that, I don't know how he thought of it. I don't know if, people do kind of change and then they sort of think about, like, speaking as a therapist here, like, and somebody who's just interested in the mind and psychology, like we do naturally as humans interpret our past through our present.
Sure.
So it is possible. I'm not going to accuse him of this, that like he was even misremembering kind of how close he might have been to that in those years. And I don't need to adjudicate that. And I'm not making a value judgment there, but like, if I've always wondered, like, why were we all convinced that he was Christian or they were a Christian band? I think other guys in the band were Christians. I believe Brian at least was for a time, but lyrics like that, then I go, that's why. Come on, I don't have to feel so much guilt about this.
And as a songwriter, don't you sometimes realize, like, notice even in yourself that your songs and your lyrics sometimes have meant different things to you at different times in your life? Like almost like you don't know what they mean until later, or you almost maybe other people's interpretation of them was like, oh wow, like.
I like that. Yeah, that's interesting.
I think that there's some subconscious stuff. I feel like I wrote a This Day and Age breakup song, on the Bell and the Hammer album before I even realized that we were breaking up. You know what I mean? So I just feel like, and I listened back.
That's good.
We almost left without saying goodbye, and But anyway, Copeland wins this round. I think Coffee is a super special song. I think Beneath the Medicine Tree is a really, really wonderful album, special album to me. But I really liked that Early November song. So they're leaving on a good note.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we've got 6 more of these first round matchups before we're out of the first round. We may or may not, we probably won't get to all of those in this sitting here, Jeff, but we're going to keep trucking ahead. Head Automatica, which is, the singer of Glassjaw and some other guys, up against Further Seems Forever. And from Head Automatica, we get Beating Heart Baby from the album Decadence. This is really where that kind of dance groove thing, which has come up a few times now, minus the bear. Less so in That Academy Is song we heard, but definitely their first record. A bunch of the Sherwood stuff. It's really big here. Beating Heart Baby.
The beating of your heart, baby. You have nothing to do with me. You have nothing to do with me. I don't know what to do with you. 'Cause you don't know what you do to me. Baby, is this love for real? Let me in your arms to feel the beating of your heart, baby. The beating of your heart, baby. Baby, is this love for real? Let me in your arms to feel your beating heart, baby. The beating of your heart, baby.
That's a chorus, dude. That's a good chorus.
I like it. Yeah, I remember that song now. That's a cool chorus.
However,
Oh boy,
it comes up against the greatest song to ever start with a clip of a airplane taking off. The
I
moon
see
is
what's
down.
I see what's about to happen here.
Yeah. You know what's going to happen.
The moon is down, and heaven is waiting for us to find her in our sights. With focus that's strong, but my strength keeps slipping. Now we're all the terminal cases, but we're so determined to thrive. And those with defeat on their faces are those that we must keep alive. And I admire your strength. You keep us going on. You keep us going on. You keep us fighting along after the fire.
Come on.
Bloodbath.
Absolute. We should have put plastic down in the room. Big
Yeah,
sheets
I
of
mean-
plastic before we put those up against each other.
And I don't know how. I know the game is to separate, then and now. But I think that we have one of the more unique challenges with the psychology of what these songs, kind of mean to us in our whole lives.
And this band is among the hardest to find any separation there.
For me, there's almost none, and it is probably in my top 3 where I probably couldn't find the separation if I tried. But nonetheless, this song would still win regardless. But I was surprised by the Head Automatica song. That was cool. Steve in this day and age loved Glassjaw, and I remember he was pumped when this album came out.
I think I prefer Head Automatica a bit to Glassjaw. I think what I was describing to Jed in the post-hardcore episodes is like this kind of sinewy, snake-like, sasscore thing, which, I think Glassjaw did better than a lot of bands.
Pretty funny.
Yeah. I think they did it better than a lot of bands, but I'm just like not the audience for that. I don't know. I have like enough maybe self-loathing for being slightly feminine or whatever, and I don't need more of that shit.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, just give me the Super Bowl. That's what I need to feel good about myself.
That's what you
My
really
team's.
need.
I'm a man. My team's in the Super Bowl. What are you talking about?
For sure. It's all the validation you could ever need.
It's all I could ever need. My man card has been stamped.
Yeah. Tell
dude.
Jed I said hi. There's some of these guys that I feel like I'm becoming vicariously friends with.
Seriously.
So Jed, and even I've heard now John Van Dusen a bunch of times, and those are two guys I really like them.
Well, I hope that they listen and I hope they receive that love from you.
And Jed, I should have mentioned from a few rounds ago. And this is not why I chose them, but I think he said Cursive should go very far. When you mentioned them,
he did, yeah,
So there you go, Jed.
You guys are connected. These are kind of like twin tournaments that you and Jed actually helped me kind of suss out which bands would be in one or the other, and a couple bands that it made sense to have in both.
There was some that were like real gray.
A lot. It's very gray.
Yeah. But no, Further Seems Forever, not many bands that are more important to me kind of in my development as a songwriter, as a person who wanted to be in a band and was in a band. And also there's just the type of music I just loved. I don't know. I'm almost at a loss for words when I think of this album in particular.
Seriously. And it's kind of a unicorn because it's the only record that they did with Chris Carrabba on vocals, obviously from Dashboard Confessional fame, and they're one of those rare bands. They had a different singer for every album. Then he finally came back on the fourth record with two different singers on 2 and 3, and it works. Like they actually made that work. I'm sure it hurt them. Like I'm sure if Carrabba had stuck around, they would have been a bigger band. I'm positive. Right. Yeah. But they did get quite big and super influential, and easily one of my favorites. They probably were my favorite band when Sherwood first started out. Yeah. And I didn't know how at all to emulate what they were doing. It was totally opaque to me, but I wanted to try, you know, and then I got more into pop stuff, and that's kind of where we found our footing, which was more of an emo meets power pop. And that's certainly not what Further Seems Forever is at all. No. But oh my gosh, I love them so much. Well, we'll get to keep talking about them because they go on.
I can't wait.
Thank you, Head Automatica. Let's move to the next one here. Your tour mates, the Spill Canvas, up against Hot Rod Circuit. And I will say, Hot Rod Circuit is one band that I did do my. I did 2 of these champion cards. A couple of the quite small bands. I just felt like I really want to make sure we hear like this song at least, and maybe this other one if they make it farther. Where I just felt like I didn't like where the Spotify plays were leading, and they're not that big of bands. Yeah. But Spill Canvas, we get All Over You from No Really I'm Fine.
Okay.
In my daydreams, in my sleep, infatuation turning into disease. You could cure me, see all you have to do now is please try, give it your best shot and try. All I'm asking for is love, but you never seem to have enough. Gotta feel you in my bones again. I'm all over you, I'm not over you. I wanna taste you one more time again. I'm all over you, I'm not over you. This life is way too short to get caught up in all this stuff when I just want you to love me back. Why can't you just love me back?
I really like that song, and I was surprised by how much I liked it.
Yeah. I was just texting with Nick yesterday because I found out they're going to be in Buffalo and Philly in June.
Nice.
That's a cool song to hear. So, oh man, this album is in this tournament. This is going to be a problem for Nick, I think.
Which one? Hot Rod Circuit, Sorry About Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, 02. This is really kind of, I think this is Vagrant. This is early kind of this scene. This is a band.
Yeah, I thought it was earlier.
Yeah. No, they make the cut. They have records before this, Hot Rod Circuit.
Yeah. Okay.
This record is really interesting, made with McTiernan. I forget the guy's first name, but he did Thrice and all these other bands, and pretty raw and kind of unflattering. That's the wrong word, but like not slick. Yeah. It feels like a band in a room, and I really like a lot of songs on this record. This one's called "Let's Go Home."
Every breath that I take is
is it rude to say about that song and that band that that's one of those records and bands where I'm 20 years old and maybe 19, and Nate's telling me, singer of Sherwood, bassist, hey, we can be good enough to do this touring band thing, and I have no real reason to believe him because to that point he hadn't sang anything very well and I hadn't written anything very good. But a record like that, like I don't mean this in a mean way, but it's like, oh, could we do this? Like, if they can do it, couldn't we write something that good that sounds about that good? Like, isn't that doable? We like scrounge up $8,000 maybe to make a record, and like it can sound pretty good, and we can get our stuff out there. I do feel like records like that, and maybe No Motive, who we'll hear later, kind of instilled some confidence, but I still listen to it today and it holds up. And in fact, when we were between the Sherwood album Q but we were working on a fourth record, and then we broke up. We didn't do it. We ended up doing another record later. But in that kind of interstitial period, I made a serious bid to cover this song and put it on that record, like almost like a full circle back to San Luis Obispo in the 2000s, kind of a thing. It didn't happen, but I love that song. I love a bunch of songs on this record.
Yeah, I like that song a lot. I think the chorus is super good. I'm kind of torn on this one a little bit. Yeah.
Work it out. Talk it out.
Man. Yeah. No. So obviously I have a lot of good, I don't know. The only word that's coming to mind is baggage, but that's a negative word. But I have a lot of good memories with
associations.
Associations with Nick, right? Not so much from that album, but from the album that would be the next song. One Fell Swoop.
But that's the stuff that doesn't get me as much, where he's doing his sassy thing.
That's a little bit sassier.
A little sassier.
I think that I liked the chorus of that Hot Rod Circuit song a little bit more. And
I can honestly say it's so good.
It's honestly such a good chorus. It's one of those choruses that you could probably play in a variety of different ways. You could play it on just piano. You could play it a little bit heavier. And I feel like it would work in a lot of different mediums. So
I think you're right.
For that reason, I think it's a better chorus. And Nick, I love you, and I'll see you in June. But I think Hot Rod Circuit wins this round.
I think that's a really good point, and it puts the right kind of color on it for me. Of like, yes, it sounds like a normal guy singing, writing a normal song that a normal person could write. But it is also just like a classically good chorus.
It's a really good chorus. I was just talking to someone about this weekend, just the idea that no matter how no matter where you put a song, actually it was the song As It Was by Harry Styles, who like Arcade Fire has covered, and a few other people.
What a chorus. Oh my gosh.
So you play that chorus in any way. Yeah. It is perfect, right? Like honestly, and I'm not a Harry Styles fan, and I'm not saying this chorus is that good, but there's something about it that's just classically great. So that's why they won this round.
I love that. I think it's an honest accounting, and the fact that you are friends.
Yeah, it's hard to cut out Spill Canvas here. It really is.
But it makes me trust you even more.
Thank you.
Okay, we've still got 4 matchups left in round 1, but we've been going for a good hour and a half here now. So we're going to call it here for part 1, and we will be back next week with part 2. We'll continue round 1 and get into round 2 with some of these bigger bands. Some of those bands we're going to hear from next time: Get Up Kids, Something Corporate, Alkaline Trio. We will hear Fall Out Boy. We'll hear Starting Line, Taking Back Sunday, My Chem, Coheed and Cambria, Brand New, Motion City, bands like that. It's going to be really fun.
I can't wait. Yeah, I'm just shaking my head listening to the list. So excited to do more with this, Dan.
I just love emo. I just still do. I'll probably never stop. Thanks for joining me on this odyssey, Jeff.
Thank you, Dan. I'm excited.